This is a free game about shapes, so we know it's going to be a good one. To begin, we watch the circle close again and again while our score gets higher. We've also made progress to infinity 0.62% already. And if I'm understanding this correctly, every time the circle closes, it gets stronger. We can already afford the second upgrade because I've been watching it for so long. That gives us a second circle. We're already a dual circle action, but we're going to upgrade the red one as well. That should make it stronger. And by stronger, I mean faster. I clicked on it a few more times. Look at it go now. So we're doing 1.13 laps per second. Now we're doing 1.25 laps per second. And we're going to turn it up again, 1.4. This is exactly the kind of simple casual idle game that I'm going to get way too obsessed with, but way too much effort into. Now we're up to 1.63 laps per second. If we upgrade the orange, we're going to double its speed. So laps per second is 0.13. We touch the orange one again. We're now doing a lap every 5 seconds. So now it's paying for itself fairly frequently. We're going to buy that again, so now it's every 4 seconds it does a lap. So if every time the circle closes the value goes up, we should work on the quicker circle. Make the quicker circle even quicker so it boosts the value up extraordinarily fast. So now the red one's going crazy and our value every rotation is going up very quickly. At least as far as the red ones are concerned, look at its value go. We're going to buy a few more levels of that just because it's fun to watch how quick it goes. We're getting very close to 1% of our way to infinity, so we've only got a little bit more to go. We made $1,300 already, so let's increase that. We unlocked a new color, but this one is now closing every 2 seconds. And buying this next one only costs 1,000 currently. Next upgrade is 1,280, but it's very slow. I think it's going to take 25 seconds to get all the way up for a rotation. But when it closes, do we get a large amount of points? I feel like we did there. The red one's currently closing 3.25 times per second. Now it's 3.75 times per second. That's a considerable upgrade. It would be nice to get to the orange to 1 per second as well, but it's going to be a few more upgrades for sure. It's going to get expensive. I looked away for a second, we made $7,000, so let's upgrade orange again. It's now nearly at 1 per second. So it looks like they can go up to level 100. This one is now at 1 per second, and this one's at almost 4 per second. We touch red one more time, 4 laps per second. This one's at 1 per second. Now we gotta work on this one, and it's gonna be so expensive to do. But we're making several hundred points per second at this point, and that's only gonna get bigger. One more of those. Now it only takes about 5 seconds for the yellow one to close, and we've unlocked the green one for 50,000. I still feel like upgrading to red is going to be the way to go for now. It's now at 5 revolutions per second, so that's going to make this number go up and this number go up. And at the very least, that makes me feel good. And I feel like we could build a strong foundation if we start with the littler ones. So we're also going to do the orange one. It would be nice to get it up to 2 per second, but that's definitely going to get expensive. These upgrades are already 6,000 each. So let's give our yellow friend a boost. We're going to spend 20,000 on that. Now it only takes, well, 2.5 seconds to close. It didn't take long to make 73,000, so we're going to start the green one going. It's going to take a long time to make a revolution, but it's got to start making them if we're ever going to hit infinity. Let's help our yellow friend out for a few more upgrades. Next one's $15,000, next one's 19, but we can already afford it. Now it only takes 2 seconds for even the yellow one to close. Then I think we'll spend another roughly 55,000 on the reds. It's going to take it from 5 per second to nearly 6. We made a very quick 175,000, so let's work on the oranges. Well, that's up to almost 2 times per second now as well. So these are really starting to move along. We're making thousands of dollars per second. I just spent 100,000 on yellow. We're about to spend another 100,000 on yellow, and that brings it up to 0.7 per second, 0.75. So it's almost up to 1 per second. And it is up to a 2.65 times multiplier for its base value. I'm not really sure what that is, but it seems to be making us lots of money. It's making us so much that we're going to upgrade it a few more times. It would be nice to get that one going ripping fast. So we just need ever bigger circles to go ever quicker because they build up their multipliers, and when they're this big, they're going to be worth a lot. So let's get our yellow one going. We have about $700,000 going. It's at just about 1 spin per second. It's actually annoying me how close it is, so we're going to push it over that for $300,000, but that's going to be worth it, because if it's spinning that quick, its multiplier is going to build up, and it's going to be worth a fortune. Same with the reds again, we're going to bring it up. It's already at a 41 times multiplier and growing, and that's going to certainly add up over the many hours. As it is, we're making well over $10,000 a second. We just hit $1 million and therefore got an achievement. We've unlocked the leaderboard, which I'm very sure to check very often. On a more interesting note, we're going to spend $1.3 million on the green laps, and it's going to now close every 4 seconds, which is actually huge. Its value right now might not be insane, but at the rate it's going to multiply itself, hopefully that adds up quickly. We made $5.3 million. Now I'm going to upgrade my orange because orange is starting to get up there in the multiplier and I need it to close more. It's got to be huge value. So it's closing almost 3 times per second as well. And that really helped our value because they're making almost $100,000 a second suddenly. Very quickly saved over $13 million at this point. So instead of unlocking the turquoise, we're going to upgrade our green a whole bunch. That brings it up to 0.5. So every 2 seconds it closes now. And that's okay because it really doesn't take long to make a single million anymore. So we're going to upgrade the red for that many millions. For a second there, the money was actually keeping up with how much the upgrades costed. This one's up to 1.2 million per buy anyway. But now we're making hundreds of thousands per second, so that feels a lot better. I'm really satisfied with how big these numbers get so quickly in this one. So we're going to work on yellows now. We're going to spend, I guess, $37 million upgrading yellow. It was at 1 revolution per second. It's now at 1.5 revolution per second. And that pushed our earnings up to about 500,000 per second. We very quickly made another 30 million, so let's finally unlock this for 10 million. The first upgrade is 13 million. The second upgrade is 18 million. It takes a long time to close, but I've got a long time on my hands. I'm not really sure which one of these is my biggest earner at this point, so we're going to spend $73 million upgrading orange. I feel like that's one of the bigger earners at the very least. That went from 2.7 per second to 3.5. With our leftover 23 million, we'll upgrade the reds to almost 10 times per second. Whatever we did, it seemed to have worked because we're making almost $2 million a second at this point, and that feels right. Our green circle is up to almost a 4 times multiplier, so we're going to reward it by giving it $175 million in upgrades. It was at 0.5, it's now at 0.8. Look at some of the shapes in the middle, they're almost a solid color now. Let's upgrade our reds for 70 million, that puts it over 10 per second, and we got another achievement, which is also gives me a slight multiplier. Plus we're already 2.6% of the way to infinity. And good news, I've turned on my auto clicker so that when I want to spend $225 million on upgrades, I just go like that, and we went from 10 to 11.25 every second. We've made nearly $1 billion, and I'm hoping there's some kind of achievement for that, because achievements give us multipliers. There wasn't, but on the bright side, we have $1 billion. Now we have 15% more than $1 billion. I'm going to spend that all on yellow. It's currently doing 1.54 laps per second. Now it's doing 2.13, which is a big increase. And you know what? Let's spend another 300 million on oranges as well. They're up to about 4 per second, so the money's going bananas. The best part is that when I come back, not only do I have a lot of money, but we're making more money than ever before. It's just an accelerating process. So let's spend $2 billion on the green ones. These upgrades cost $51 million as it is, so we're not going to get a great deal of difference, but we're over 1 per second. And individual upgrades cost $630 million at this point. $6 billion, so we're going to finally work on the turquoise. That's currently very, very slow, and it's much quicker now. So every 2.5 seconds, that will close, and that will make us a lot of money, especially once it starts to multiply better. It's already offering us a prestige, but the prestige can still go a lot higher if I'm seeing this, and we're making a lot of money, so we're going to let it roll for a while. We've jumped up to $12 billion, so we're going to unlock this. This costs $10 billion for its first upgrade, and it goes very slowly. But it's going to be worth a lot, and over enough time, it's going to get a big multiplier. With the remaining $5 billion, let's spend it all on reds. It's at 11.25 per second, it's now max level at 12.5. But I think we can actually ascend that. Now it's going to be really expensive. And it's also very slow, but we can still buy the upgrades for that much. It would be nice to have it at least going 1 time per second. And our income still seems perfectly fine. We just got to be careful what we upgrade and where. Another $14.5 billion for us. Let's spend that all on orange to see if we can get it closer to level 100. It's now going 5 times a second. And you can really feel that in the earnings now. We're making like $100 million a second at least. Apparently I can spend minutes. I can time warp for 20 minutes if I want to, and that's just going to make things go by. But that did leave us with 3.4 trillion. So we're going to buy some light blue for that. And now we can buy this one, which is 100 trillion for its first one. So we're going to hold off on that a bit. It would be nice to get this one. Now this one, every 5 seconds, the light blue will go off. Also, let's work on our beloved red. This does cost billions of dollars, but when you have trillions, that doesn't feel so bad. It would be nice to get it closer to 3 times per second, but the money's starting to run down. There we go, 3 reds per second. And then the light blue one here, that's 1.86 per upgrade. Let's go ahead and upgrade that. We've over doubled its speed. Now we're making like $10-15 billion a second, so that feels right. So we're definitely long overdue for some of these older, like this yellow upgrade's going off 2 times per second. Now it's 3.2 per second. And we'll do the same with the green. It's going off 1 per second. It's now up to 1.5 per second. That's a massive increase. And the earnings speak for themselves. That's 20 billion a second. I have managed to save up another $2 trillion, not that it was that hard. So we're going to work our way up. We want our orange. There's only another 19 levels to go to get this maxed out. We may get there right now. I don't know if it's worth it to push that over. So while we're thinking about it, I'm going to spend $1.7 trillion on the reds. That added quite a bit. It went from 3 to 3.6. And this time flux stuff seems to build back up. So we're going to do another 20-minute time warp at 120 times speed. That left us with 670 trillion plus our multipliers getting big. That means we can buy the first one of these, which is an achievement in itself, which is another multiplier. So from here, I think we're okay to upgrade the orange again, although that's over $1 trillion per buy, so that's really expensive. Although we're making $1 trillion per second, so that's not nearly as bad as it seems. I would like to get that up to 1. We're just going to close our eyes for the numbers. Same with the reds. Let's see if we can boost that up a little bit. It'd be nice to get that to 5 per second. Still have $540 trillion left over. This one's only 70 billion per upgrade, so it's actually really cheap. We're going to upgrade that so it hurts a little bit. Be nice to get that 2.25 per second is fine. I am going to double the speed of the dark purple just because it doubles its speed. It was really expensive, but we need that multiplier to go up. Turquoise, I would like over 1 per second. This is going to get a little bit expensive, but we did get it well. It's 10% over that mark now. We'll do 1.2 per second. And then I'm very wisely going to spend $390 trillion upgrading yellow. We can get it closer to level 100. Oh, we did get it to level 100. We're up to almost $2 trillion a second right now, so that feels pretty good. So we're going to upgrade that $263 trillion. So we're going to leave that alone for a while because it's ridiculously expensive. We're going to do light blue. We're going to spend $320 trillion on that, but we've almost tripled its speed. Now I'm going to use another 19 minutes of my time flux to see what kind of value we get. We got another achievement. And that left us with $20 quadrillion. So we could definitely buy more of this, although that's going to start eating into profits quickly, but we unlocked the next one. This costs 1 quintillion, which is a colossally big number. So while I think about my next move, I'm going to start clicking on the red one while we keep an eye on our value, but this is up to 7 spins per second. That feels pretty good. We're also going to work on the orange. This is also getting expensive, but if we get up to 2 per second, good. Given all of our multipliers too, we're making, I think, $100 trillion per second roughly. So $24 trillion upgrade doesn't mean much. It takes a quarter of a second to make that much. So we can click on that for a little while. It does start to sting before too long, but you gotta suffer through a little pain sometimes. And I do want the blue one closing a lot, so we're gonna spend a whole bunch of money on that. At least it'll go off every 5 seconds. This one too will get it closer to 1 per second because over time that's really gonna add up. I can feel progress slowing a little bit now, so I think it's a really good time to prestige. We're gonna go and do that with a 51 times multiplier. So now every time the circle closes, we're getting 50 something dollars. Correction, we are getting $70 currently, and that number's going up quickly. So this will be fun. We'll make it back to where we were in no time at all. We're gonna pay for tons of upgrades. I think we can choose how many we can buy at a time with that button. But you know what? I brought my auto clicker, so it's all good. Jumping back to about where we were with the help of a little bit of time flux, we're currently making many quadrillions of dollars per second. And all of the upgrades have been moved into the quadrillions of dollars zone, and my multiplier is getting big quick. I've even bought one level of this that cost me $1 quintillion. Which sounds like a lot, but if we use another 20 minutes of time warp, we're up to 950 quintillion, so we can buy more levels of this pretty easily, and that's going to increase our income a lot. I want this to go off. It's now once every 5 seconds, and this next one costs us septillion for pink. That's a lot of money, but we're also getting 220 quadrillion per revolution, and that number is going up continually as well. If my tired math brain is working, I think upgrading this one would be the most worthwhile, but we can't really afford that, so we're going to do blues. I'm going to spend $870 quintillion upgrading this. That went from 0.4 to 0.7 per second. And then I'll just work my way up, probably in reverse order, auto-clicking my way to the top. We're going to put that over the top and keep on going. I don't like that anything is sitting less than 1 revolution per second right now, especially this high up, so we're going to work on upgrading that. I decided a little time warp made more sense than anything, so up to 286 sextillion, which is about a quarter of a septillion that we still need. But I mostly just wanted to upgrade this one above 1 per second. So let's go to 1.2 per second and spend the rest of the money somewhere here or here or here or there. So the prestige multiplier is up to 450 times, but this is a good time to have an IRL warp. I'm going to go sleep for 12 hours and I'll come back and we'll see what kind of madness has happened. Many hours later, we have a modest $355 decillion. But also when we want a prestige, we'll go from a 51 times multiplier to a 20,000 times multiplier. But for now, we're going to click on a whole bunch of things because these numbers are going to get bigger. It goes septillion, octillion, then I believe it's decillion after that. So we need one for the number here. We can afford more than a few of those. So let's also push this one into its next mode. Those cost sextillions of dollars, which is only a fraction of what we have now. So let's make this number hurt. And I was wrong earlier, there's no nillion before decillion. So this is a really big number. So I'm going to push all of these up until they're in about 1 decillion for an upgrade to see if our earnings go up. So I've upgraded my way down. The last one I need to do is the white one itself. We're going to spend $242 decillion upgrading that, and it's still only going to go once every 7 seconds. But now we're going to make a decillion every few seconds as it is. So let's give a 20-minute time warp and see what kind of money we have. That gave me 7 undecillion, which is a bigger number again by quite a lot. The multiplier went up by 50%. It's now at about a 30,000 times multiplier. I want to get this one going because this one's obviously going to be a very big one for us. Now, while this is a really big number and seems like a lot of money, we can only get so many levels of something. There we couldn't even get up to 120 for the reds, and that's the most basic of upgrades. So let's put these earnings and time flux through, say, 180 minutes. That should be some colossal earnings. We're going at 1080 speed, which left me with, I think, trade decillions, if I remember that correctly. The multiplier's at 200,000 times. And that's really mostly what I was looking at. We're going to upgrade that. Even with all that money, this thing still only goes at 0.66 per second. But I think it's time we take advantage of this minor multiplier. We're going to go from 51 to 200,000. Plus, we got a bunch of achievements for doing that, so that means we get an even bigger multiplier again. So we are currently getting 2 million per revolution. We're supposed to be getting like 1. So we'll go ahead and make sure that's closing quicker. You know what? We're going to use the auto clicker to begin with. We got that to level 85 already. But we're now into hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is a number that's going to go up rapidly. It feels like I'm not doing this right anymore, but that's kind of the point. So we'll go back and upgrade, work our way down. So this is basically happening in real time, but we're in the billions of dollars already. I took another impromptu little break and we have $72 million. So that's going to help us increase our earnings. We'll spend all of this on the pink right now, and that's going every 0.6 seconds. Then I'm going to spend the remainder of my money working upwards, and then the circles are going to close faster and faster. The reds are up to a 6,500 times multiplier, and we can still make them higher. Things are getting expensive again, so it's time for a time warp. I decided I might as well burn through an hour, and that gave us 6 duodecillion, which is definitely enough to start buying this one. And that's really going to be the hard one to make go. It currently has a 1.05 times multiplier. As long as they're all closing over 1 time per second, then we're in good standing as long as we use a time warp. Some of these have hit max level, but we're going to do a time warp here for only 20 minutes at max level. That way they can get lots of rotations and multipliers in. So now our whites are doing 7.5 times multiplier, and we're at 30 trade decillion, which means I could probably upgrade this one a whole bunch more. So I'm going to repeat that process. I've upgraded everything as much as I could. Another 20 minutes, we'll upgrade again, go through another 20 minutes. My prestige multiplier is all the way up to 1.4 million, which sounds like a lot, but we already have a 200,000, so it would be many times what we have, but not as crazy as it sounds. So I'm going to burn through 180 minutes. We're just going to burn a full 3 hours here at 1080 times speed. That's going to give us some profit. Now we have 11 SPDC, which is septillion decillion or something silly like that. We're just going to click on a whole bunch of this. And now it's at max level, so it's spinning at 1.31 times per second. And now they're all maxed out in their current level. Our overall multiplier is 198,000 times, which simply matches my multiplier here. So now that everything's at max level currently, we're going to do 60 minutes and see what that gives us. 152. The multipliers are getting bigger, and we're at a 12 million times multiplier here. It's still only 18% of the way to infinity, not even 1/5 of the way there yet. So since we're obviously spinning very quickly, let's do a 600 minute multiplier. That's 10 full hours, which is most of my flux at this point. We're going at 3600 times speed. This is so much faster than actually waiting 10 hours. Whoops, I think I might have clicked that just shy of where we needed to go, but I just wanted to see my multiplier at 75 million. And we're up to a 776 times multiplier for even the most expensive one. So the numbers are getting very big. I'm going to increase this one's multiplier and buy a whole bunch of it with my money, and can't even buy that much. It's still only going once every half a second at this point. I'm hoping another 2 hours will get us a good, well, we got an achievement, so that's something. I accidentally auto-clicked on the prestige button, so it clicked 5 times right away. The important thing is we have about 100 million times multiplier. So by the time I was even done saying that statement, we've got $120 billion. So the auto clicker is going to be pretty busy for a minute. We're just going to max out everything so the big multipliers start right away. So now we're into the hundreds of billions, really trillions if we weren't spending the money at light speed. So I'm just going to work my way down right now, trying to get things to max level, and so far we're getting away with it. We're already up to the sextillions of dollars. I had some leftover points, so I bought some more time flux. Now we've got, I think, 24 hours of it. So if I want, I can spend, say, 60 minutes doing a time warp. I don't even have to spend anywhere near that. I can spend, say, 20 minutes, and we're going to have big numbers. So I'm just maxing up my upgrades and warping through time once again just to get those multipliers getting bigger. And I'm leaving everything at max level, that way they're spinning as fast as possible right now. If I do push them over, they will get a bigger multiplier up here, but for now, time is my friend. Well, since everything is maxed out and we have a ludicrous amount of money, let's go ahead and warp through 20 hours of time, which would be 1200 minutes. So we're going through the game at 7200 times speed, but we're going to be earning some money, and those multipliers are going to be getting pretty big. At least I suspect they are. 16 ODC, I think that's octodecillion. It's a very big number. There's a lot of zeros slapped on that bad boy. The multipliers are back up to about 1,000. The reds are up to about 14,000. This one we can push probably all the way up now. We can just click and click and click. These are really expensive, but now it's maxed out. And we're still less than 20% of the way to infinity, because infinity is really big. So we'll have to sit here and let this run for the next 4 years and see what kind of bigger number we can make.